Hi, everyone. Good evening from Nairobi, Kenya. It is almost the solstice. It is the solstice season in North America or the Northern Hemisphere. And as you can see how I am dressed, it is evening time here and it's cold. So I'm seeing the sunsets in the northwest. Um, the sun's more brighter in the northern side versus the southern side because of the solstice season. Um, yeah, so we're cold here in the hilly side of Kenya. Other than that, I wanted to present to you Balanites aegyptica. I have to get that right. Balanites aegyptica. I think I got that right. Mjunju in Swahili. And this one is a beautiful shrub. It's dangerous though. I mean, you have to go with a lot of respect when you're going to go pick her because she's got these large, sharp thorns. Her leaves are nice and leathery. They're they have no stalk, so they're just connected right on the stem, right here, and they're compound leaves, so they're leaflets, like these two leaves that grow. Oops, this one I think I took it off by mistake. I picked this up a couple of days ago, so it's kind of dry, but as you can see, there's a pattern here. These two leaves are always growing with each other like twins on each part. It's so interesting to watch the patterns, the sacred geometry of these plants. Um, so Mjunju or desert date. In English, I'll call it desert date, but in the botanical name is Balanites aegyptica. Um, is really loved by animals. Camel, goat. I don't know anything about camel where I live, but we have lots of goats and we have lots of giraffe. So I see the giraffes munching away on this plant. And I have one, two trees around my house here, and also goats, the local goats that are our nomads, our semi-nomads around here bring around. Um, what else can I say about this plant? It is like an evergreen. So it's got very tough leaves, as I showed you, the leatherly type of leaves. Um, the bark, yes, the bark has been used indigenously as fish poison. But the fruit is not poison for us, for humans, but it is poisonous for snails that carry bilharzia and for fleas that carry malaria or some other parasitic diseases. So you can use this plant from parasites, which malaria is a parasitic disease, or any kind of flea infestation that can give you guinea worm disease. But to relate this to people in the Northern Hemisphere, you possibly, I wonder what it would do for Lyme's. So if anyone is curious, please do some research on Balanites aegyptica desert date. Indigenous people here, so this plant, first of all, let me just say, is very, very ancient to Africa, all of Africa. Everywhere around Africa, people know this plant, as its name suggests, Aegyptica. For us here on the continent, Egypt is our ancient, of course, it wasn't called Egypt, our ancient home, land, library, school. So this plant is important from head to toe, not only for the animals, our sacred wild animals that are endemic to Africa, like the giraffe, but also just for trade. And it's an important plant for diseases from Africa, like the bilharzia or guinea worm infestation that can cause a kind of a horrible malaria, worse than malaria-like symptoms, fever, malaise, yeah, and death. So what's actually quite awesome are these. These are the desert dates. Yeah. So these desert dates are these fruits that this plant produces even when it's very, very, very dry. So you see why this plant is so, so important to Africans across the continent, because we just get very dry spells. And this desert date is what is poisonous to bilharzias carrying snails, or to the fleas that carry the guinea worm infestation, which can create an infestation, and to malaria, and for coughs and colds, and for anything inflammatory, infectious disease. This is what you will take as a tea. So infused here, I have a bit of my date and some saffron. I'll talk about saffron another time, but saffron's awesome too. And it's really, really common here to drink tea with milk. I generally use oat milk, but you can use a lot of cow milk. I do love cow milk as well, fresh cow milk from the local cows that can are what do you call it? Yeah. Whatever that word is in English. Um, yeah, so back to the desert dates. So you can drink this infused in a tea. Like I said, this summer I'll be updating my herb shop store. So all these plants you will have available. So just keep looking out for those updates. We'll have those updates for those of you who live in the north. Um, you'll start to see some specific types of herbs or herbal formulas with some of the plants that I've been talking about that will be in the herb shop. Last but not least, you can use the roots. The bark is not used. Well, the bark is used for hunting, as I've mentioned. I think you can use it for like poison, for hunting fish and for some small game. That's what indigenous people have used it for always. I live in Maasai land, so a lot of that knowledge comes from them. Uh, but you can also use the roots, and the roots are really good for abdominal pain, aches and pains. Yeah, anything that makes you sick in the stomach, and as I said, malaria. It could cause vomiting, which is a common thing here, the purgative aspects of plant medicine. I know people in the West can be afraid, but if you've done something like an ayahuasca ceremony and you've purged, you can understand and appreciate the relief of what that medicine does to you when you remove all you don't need in your gut. And we know that our stomach is another brain, if not the first and most primal brain. So we want that cleansed. Yeah, we do. We want that cleansed. It can cause so much dis-ease in us if our belly is not well, our GI tract. So that's all I have for you today. Please remember to follow me on Instagram, or us on Instagram, I should say. It's not just me, it's our team, Well of Indigenous Wisdom School. And yeah, look out for our updates. This newsletter has a lot of advertising for the things that we are doing. I want to invite you to Kenya. Every year, come to Kenya in the just after the winter in the north, or wherever you are, and come and let's gather and talk about plants, and let's be on the land and feel the energy of the land here. And let's eat local indigenous foods. And yeah, let's get together and understand how we think in these parts of the world. I've, as you've known, I've traveled all over, and so for me, it's quite nice to see us all come together, even though it is Africa. It's an African narrative, African herbs. That's what you're signing up for. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter which background you have, but you are coming to understand African things and African medicine, African foods, African culture. And so you're very welcome with open arms. Take care. Blessings.